Hello. For some reason, I don't have audio, guys. Everybody, bear with me. We are here live for Closeout Part 7. And I, for some reason, do not have any audio on my streaming software. There we go. Oh, okay, there we go. My computer was muted. All right, everybody. My computer was muted. We should now have audio. All right, guys. We are live for Close Out episode 7, part 7, I'm sorry. And we have with us today James. He actually did an episode a while back, and he like had such an amazing story that he talked for almost the entire hour. So there was very little time at the end for questions. So we are going to start off by having him recap his story just a bit, very quickly overview. We'll take any questions from anybody that's watching that had questions about James's story or has anything in particular that they would like James to hear. I just sent him the link, so he should be joining us very soon. And in the meantime, I will review James's storage. Oh, he's actually here. He was waiting on me, I think.
I was waiting on you.
I thought you might have been listening from somewhere else, but because I literally just said I'll tell just a little bit while we're waiting on him, and then you chimed right in.
I was late the first time, so I have to be on it this time.
I know the first time I was like, I sent the link. I just talked to him. I don't, and then you came, so it's all good. You said you were listening on the other device, so I get it.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you wonderfully, and thank you so much for helping me out. James actually is stepping in for somebody that canceled on me, so not really canceled. I guess I didn't really have anybody down. Somehow I let today get open until I don't know how I did it, and so personal
between
error.
mommying and all the other things that you do.
Yep.
You okay? Oops.
I had somebody that said, that they could probably help me out, and then something came up for them. So
Are you feeling? Is you and your family feeling a little better today?
A little better. We are still it's still a little raspy in our chest and stuff, but much better than we were. I was starting to be concerned that we might have had pneumonia even because it was just going on for so long, but it is finally starting to clear up. The babies are getting better. For I don't know, a week, my littlest daughter, she just had the snot, the dump, everywhere we went. It was just poor baby. They get it, they get it bad, and like kids are so weird because they get sick and like they don't care. Like they just still run around, and they want to play, and like they were begging to go outside, and I'm like, you cannot go outside. Like I think you possibly might have pneumonia, like definitely we're not going outside. And just they're
right
funny. Like kids are funny like that. So I thought to start off, I thought you could just give a quick rundown of your story really quick, as quick as you can, and hit all the major points. Not as quick as you can. I'm sorry. We're not in no rush here. We have an hour.
But no, it's all good.
And just run down it real quick, and then we will take any questions. I had some questions that I was going to ask last time, and then after that we'll play my game that I come up with. You'll be the second ever contestant on Truth, Trauma, or Triumph. So
all right, okay, great.
I am hoping actually to get some shirts made or something to give out to my guests, just something fun. So so you will be the first recipient of that, you and the Kendra that played the game last time. So hopefully
Oh,
that's something.
fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm so
and
honored. Thank you so much.
nothing fancy, it's just something with my little logo on it, and maybe it says
Yeah.
that you were a guest, or I don't know. I haven't nailed it down yet, but I had something like that in mind. So, all right, so you have the floor.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give us a rundown of your accomplishments. I know there's a lot, and then, like I said, I have some
Okay.
questions.
Sure. First of all, thank you again for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to be able to give my story to what audience out there. I think that for those of us who are currently struggling, have struggled in the past, we all have a story to tell, and we all can learn something from each other. And I was just, we're gonna. I felt like I was going really fast the last time, and just hitting all these different points. And so, in a nutshell, I was blessed. I was saved uh, to be able to go to prison for 5 years. Now, I had been to prison before. I had gone in, when I was 18 at 2001, which kind of dates me a little bit. Um, and then I, and then I went again in 2003 because apparently I hadn't had enough the first time. And then I went again in, it was like 2006. Um, and then what we do, what we call in prison world is we did a bit of time outside. We did a grip. And that means we tried to succeed in some space in the outside world, but it still didn't work. And from 2016 to 2018 was my first violent offense, but it was all centered in addiction. And then 2020 was the final chapter, we'll call it, and I was incarcerated for 5 years. So several times, each time that I did go to prison, I did much better than on the streets because it's structured. You got three hots and a cot, and you know what's going to happen. You don't have the bills. The worst thing you got to do is figure out what you're going to do with your day in a small space. And so it wasn't like building. I don't know. It was a little petri dish itself of just kind of just wasting space. Those past the prison numbers. I didn't really do anything, and I had a desire to um, stop. Every time that I did go to prison, I'm like, oh, thank God, I can get sober. I can get
Yeah,
my weight up. Um, and start making apologies for all the BS
see some
that I have
doctors.
created. Oh well, I don't like to talk negative, but the prison doctors aren't the best. But
Yeah,
hey,
they're not, but, for me, I know, like, I didn't see a doctor on the streets for I don't know, like, when I was
ah,
in prison and they did, like, my initial intake and they were like, "When was your last checkup?" And I was like,
yeah.
like,
Well, that's
years.
actually a really good point that you made because it was not this past one, but the one before that that I had the doctors told me I had Hep C, and that was like a huge thing. And I'm like, well, how could I didn't know anything about it? How could I have gotten this? And obviously intravenous use.
Right.
And so anyway, I digress. But so I've been to prison several times. I've been a knucklehead. That's what I like to call it. Time and time again, total between county jail and prison, I have about 10 years in, including maybe 12, including the most recent one, which was 5 years. I had never had the opportunity to do a drug program or sober living. They just took me and said, goodbye, you got to do your thing. And so, along this past journey, to kind of do the recap again, um, I never really felt the way I did then what it meant to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know, it's hard to describe that because sure, we get sick and tired of living that lifestyle when we're in that lifestyle, but we keep on doing it.
Yeah.
We keep on going back to the using because we're so scared of what it's going to be like, the unknown, to be sick for weeks, to have to repair again, to have to find a job, to have no credit, all those relationships, like all those people that actually can work a job and somewhat function. You're not going to be able to get a job with them. They don't want you there. They know what you've been doing.
Hmm.
And so to actually be sick and tired of being sick and tired, it was a new feeling, beyond just saying, it was a deep core, like I've got to do something, because I'm sure, like you, the longer that you engage in that lifestyle, the sicker you become and the closer to the grave that you get.
Absolutely.
And yeah, man, I was at that point so many times. I had completely compromised all of my values and my morals. And what I mean by that is, I was stealing from people. I was pulling a big wad of cash out thinking I was the shit,
Yep.
but I was abusing my friends, I was abusing women, and I was abusing myself. And I was putting my neighbors, my community in danger, and I was bringing in to the community um, stuff that would kill people. As messed up as I was, I would say with pride, nobody lost on my ship, which meant that I carried Narcan with me and I knew how to do CPR. So you were safe with me to do whatever you wanted to do. And that's just to show you that I'm out of my gourd. I was out of my gourd then.
Yep. I used to say things like, I'm a 18, 19 years old. I don't have any kids. Like I should be allowed to get high. Like I thought that yeah, I was entitled to have that good time. Like, why not? Why can't I get high and I don't have no kids and no because that's not what normal effing people do. But that's in my mind. I was
Yeah.
like totally like justified in
Unstoppable and
my
justified.
right
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
heroin. You know what I mean? I'm like, I should be allowed to shoot up heroin every day because I don't have kids and I don't have a job and I don't have any responsibilities.
And it
Like,
ain't hurting you. It's only hurting me. So let me make my choices.
yeah, like it's a good thing. Like I don't have a job or a family to care about, so I can do whatever I want. Like it was a victimless crime. I was only hurting myself, but that's not the truth. But that's how I really felt in my addiction. That's how I thought I was entitled and it was my right to be able to go out and get high and party and do what I wanted. And
Yeah, absolutely. So you wanted me, man, I'm right there with you as far as that thinking goes. So you wanted me to touch on a couple of things that I did. Well, I went to school. I went to Ashland University. I That was one of the big things. I'd been to Ohio University for music education performance. Dropped out. I went to Colorado Technical University online for business administration. Dropped out. I also went to Hawking College for addiction counseling. Dropped out. And so I'm like, hey, I'm in this place. I have the years available. Let's just fill in some time. And besides, I'm going to be learning. Why not? As soon as got that first semester's grades back, A's, I was like, oh my God, I'm doing something. Like, and I already the decision to stop using because I was just done. It was a wild feeling to just you know be over it on that level. I'm just completely done. And so I'm looking up at my degrees now, but like I earned that associates, and I that wasn't enough, and I moved on to my bachelor in arts and communication with a minor in business administration. And right before I finished that one, my site director came to me and was like, "Hey, you have enough time to get another bachelor's." I was like, "What? No way! Get out of here!" And she was like, "Stephanie Dillinger, love you, by the way, shout out." She was like, "Yeah, if you want to apply yourself and max out and like really do your thing, I'll vouch for you." And I said, "Well, yeah, let's do it." Now,
absolutely.
mind you, like I had received. I mean, I was top notch. I was like in the top percentile of Ashland University. Kind of like touting a little bit, yeah, flexing a little bit because sure, I had all the
I will
time in the
say
world.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do want to say that when you say that you were the top in Ashland University, I didn't realize even when you told me that you meant like in your entire class, like campus as well, because you guys
Yeah,
were technically classified as like, part of the campus class or whatever.
yeah,
So like
absolutely.
saying that you were like top 1%, you're not, you don't mean just like the people in jail. That's kind of like what in my mind when you first told me, but then when you told the story and I realized like I wanted to point that out because that is truly incredible. Like to, because we're not
Thank
talking about
you.
just like a few people, and 5 or 10 guys in the class in jail, but we're
Yeah, I
talking about
know.
like the class of like real live college people that have so that's really
No, I
amazing. And
get really excited, and I
yeah,
appreciate that compliment because it did mean it meant the world to me that I was actually able to apply myself to something I just excel at, but then I was able to tutor and give those skills, teach those skills to other people. And so, yeah, to just piggyback off of that, I do not as like an ego thing, but maybe a little bit because I think that we should all be have a little bit of pride in the things that we
oh,
do, as long as
absolutely.
we stay authentic with our purpose of helping others in the end. And that's what my goal was. The end. It was to help me, sure, but in the end goal, I wanted to be able to give back, and I had to learn how to do that, and I had to learn how to become a good member of society, and I had to educate myself. And the more that I educated myself, I became more accepting of who I am, and learned a lot about myself. Not only learning, but also just changing every little thing about me. And so, right at the end of that bachelor in arts, in communication, she's like, "You have enough time, and you can apply your stuff, and you can do organizational leadership and development." And I was like, "Oh, wow, that sounds great." What does that mean? And what can I do with that? And then she's like, "Well," she told me the things, nonprofit work, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've been working on a nonprofit idea for years now. Why not?" So, mind you, I've completed the associates within a year. I completed the bachelor in communication within 2 years. And then I completed the bachelor in science, the organizational leadership and development, in 1 year. Now, in the entirety of that, and I give full credit to the being able to, because of the time and the space that I had to dedicate to it. But I'm doing like 8-10 hour days in books. Um, I graduated with summa cum laude, just under valedictorian or salutatorian, but that's okay. Doing this right now is awesome because it's helping me with my public presentation. To be honest, I'm sure that a lot of people can relate. I have a crippling social anxiety issue. So speaking in front of other people, like right here is one of my little fidgets, and I got another little fidget back here, just in
Absolutely.
case. But
On my first episode, I had never even like done a live or anything. On the first episode, I forgot to connect the chat and couldn't figure out why it was. Like I was so upset the whole episode because people were commenting. I had a bunch of like a couple of my friends were watching and they were like commenting and I could like and I didn't have like a device set up to watch it. I like hadn't got the flow figured out, but I was so nervous,
right,
such like
yeah.
crippling literally anxiety that it was literally a click of a button and I could not figure it out. Yeah.
That's so good. I can relate to that. And so I did the school. Now, that was a whole big piece. Another big piece was peer support. Um, that was a liberating and enlightening and empowering experience. I know you're doing the peer support, and I'm so proud of you. Um, we touched on it before, but that was the first time that I was able to dissect or separate that addiction from the behaviors to the core beliefs. Peer support was able to teach me that I know my best way at recovery because I know me.
Mhm.
And it's most likely the things that make me the most uncomfortable, which is for me, diving deep into some of those traumas, diving deep into the reasons why I act the way I did. And then when I acted the way I did, I then numbed and suppressed. And we know the same old story where, we get into the addictive lifestyle and the addiction itself. But when my peer support facilitator told me, if you believe, I know this goes against a lot of recovery language. But if you truly believe that once an addict, you're not always an addict, you can believe that and you can work towards that. And for me, and I'm very clear about speaking for myself because I don't want to offend anybody in the programs because I think the programs are amazing. Um, for me, just being able to make that shift in thinking that I don't always have to be an addict. What do you mean? It encouraged me to like dive a little bit deeper and figure out what do I need to do. And I did. And what that means for me is diving into those behaviors. Okay, if the addiction's not the issue, it's the behaviors that come before that. And if it's not the behaviors, then what leads to the behaviors that is a little wanky in my life? Why do I behave the way that I do that leads to the numbing and suppressing? So I kept on peeling those layers back. And that, and in essence, is each one of our individuals' worldview. And our worldview is comprised of our beliefs. I believe, let's do a basic one. I believe that people are inherently good at nature, right? That could be somebody's worldview, their core belief. Now, somebody who has the belief that people are inherently evil or a little nasty or a little, sideways or whatever, that's going to lead you to behave a certain way in certain crowds or with other people, and it's from those behaviors that lead into the addiction. Um, and so I thought my worldview was really messed up and I needed to change every little bit of it because I kept on leading into addiction in the end. And so that means if I take a look at, do I have a fear of failure? Yes, that is a core belief, or that is core world view. Man, that was tough. Core world view. Or if I am in fear of disapproval of others, then I'm going to act accordingly. So I overcompensate. So I don't feel so I'm not being disapproved. I'm not a failure. So I don't know if anybody's ever felt I have a fear of failure, so I'm going to do everything possible to not fail. And you overcompensate for that. And next thing you know, you're kind of masking as this perfect person because you don't like that feeling of rejection. You don't like that feeling that the perception of others or the perception that you put on yourself. And so maybe it's a fear of intimacy. And so what you do is you behave accordingly where you push people away. You don't want to get close because they might hurt you, or and that in to I have a fear of intimacy, but now I'm lonely and now I want to use because I want to numb and suppress because I still don't feel comfortable in my own skin. And so there's three main components that make up your worldview, which is your status, whether or not what level you feel like you are with other people, control or the perception of control. A lot of people like to control their environment or those that are they're around, and then your affiliation, your relationships. And so I took the look at those social bondings and the my identity and my decision making within those things. Now, a big core component of um, changing your worldview is, well, how do you do that? How do you, after a lifelong uh, practice of becoming the person that you are, how do you start making those changes? It it's like you as though it's second nature, right? So how do you start making that shift? And the first thing that you do is, I glazed over these quickly, but they're so important. There's a couple of rules that I learned in one of my IOP classes, intensive outpatient, which I volunteered to go in prison. Let me digress just a little bit. It was a 6-month program inside the prison where it was a cognitive behavioral therapy group, okay, CBT. And it was another one of those big things, along with peer support, that changed my thinking. So the first rule, which is the most important rule, is, are my thoughts based on reality and facts? Okay. As I'm taking a look at my beliefs and my worldview and my behaviors, and I'm looking at things in new light, are my thoughts based on reality and facts. So, for a simple example, you might be cooking some food in the common area and someone comes over and takes your food out and puts their food in the microwave or whatever it might be, or cuts in front of you in line, or is really loud and boisterous. And oftentimes people have a tendency to get angry about those things, right? If you think about things that make you angry, and it doesn't have to be necessarily prison based. It can be, you can be driving, maybe you get a little road rage, or maybe at a family function you got that uncle who's extremely loud and obnoxious and drinking all the things. So are my thoughts based on reality and facts? Instead of thinking like I assume that that person knows what they're doing, that how their behaviors is inflicting upon mine, and how dare they, and we get into this like resenting thinking. So that's not facts necessarily. Maybe that person just doesn't know. Maybe that person isn't aware. And so that's what comes in, where we don't approach the individual with resentment. We will approach the open with open communication and acceptance, saying, "Hey, you know, you're being kind of loud, or did you know that my food was in there, or did you know that I don't like it being taken out by somebody else, or whatever, fill in the blank." And you use a very sensitive form of language instead of becoming more irate. uh, and so you base your thoughts upon reality and fact, number one. And number two, are the things that you do helping protect your life and health? Should I put thought into this right now? Is it protecting my life and health, or am I just stressing over something that I don't have any control about? Maybe I should just let life be a little bit and just let things kind of come out naturally. Number three is, are my thoughts helping me achieve my short term, long term, and of course midterm, and my what I call the big hairy audacious goal, that big magnified there. And so that's the third one, because if I'm doing things that aren't aligning with my goals, for example, if I'm watching TV when I should be studying, if I'm out there kicking it with somebody and war storying, is that trying to advance my goals of peer support and helping others? No. Why am I doing it? It's not protecting my life and health, because maybe I start getting into that glorifying too. And then
Right.
I start shifting my thinking again. It's like, oh yeah, that was a really good time. But I forget about the
Yep.
weeks and the traumas of hurting others and myself.
Yeah.
The fourth one, there's this one and one more. Um, are my thoughts helping me keep out of conflict with others? Now, the whole big hook about this one is you're not always going to be able to avoid conflict. Okay. It's going to happen naturally. But they resort back to, am I based on reality and facts? Am I being true to myself? Am I speaking truths to others? Am I doing it in a sensitive way? Okay, conflict is coming. Am I going to protect my life and health? Okay, if I get in this fight, I'm 42 years old now. Shit hurts a lot longer getting in a fight. You don't bounce back like a kid does. So, I'm cool on all that. I'm cool saying I'm soft to Charmin. I'll walk away at this point. I'm good.
You
Like,
know
you got the
that
juice.
song by Trace Adkins, "As Good as I Once Was." Like, I'm as good once as I ever was. But that's a
Yeah.
that's like, I yeah, that's how I feel. I'm too old. I couldn't imagine being dope sick anymore.
Leave that for the younger ones, or let me help you come down some where you can talk about it like people, like, let's use our brains on this. It's all good. We'll get to that other end. So are your actions keeping out of conflict? And even though the conflict is how you approach it, and you have to keep yourself centered. And the fifth one is, are my thoughts leading me to feel the way I want to feel without the use of alcohol and drugs? If the things that I do and the things that I'm thinking are making me feel like I want to use, maybe I shouldn't be doing them. And a simple example is, we got the Halloween block party coming on this weekend, Saturday, big day. There's going to be 20,000 people out of town, plus the 20,000 in town. It's going to be big. I'm not going. I'm not doing it. You won't find me there. Sure, send me some pictures. That we're talking a strip that is like 20 something bars uptown Athens. Sure, the costumes are there, but you know what? It's going to get dark out there. The police are going to be there. It's colder and shit. And I want to be home reading a book. You know, I'd
Yep.
rather read The Body Keeps the Score, cuddled up, safe in my home and get some pictures and have a good time. Um, it's not keeping me in a frame of mind where I want to use. Or, or we'll do it a different way. Are my thoughts making me want to how I want to feel without the use of alcohol and drugs? This is an important one. So I'm sad. Okay, I'm depressed. So how are my thoughts when I'm sad or depressed? Allowing me not to want to use. I want to use because I'm sad or depressed, for an example, you know, because I want to numb that pain. And so then if you don't want to use and but you're kind of like obsessing over those thoughts and that sadness, what I started to do with that is I allowed myself a certain amount of time of sadness and then I was like, okay, what are we going to do now? Are we journaling? Are we relating with somebody else? Are we listening to music? Are we going for a walk? Are we exercising? Are we eating? Are we doing the halts, hungry, angry, lonely, tired? Are my mooring lines in balance? Like if I start focusing on, you know, this the sensual grounding, which I'm a big sensual grounder, touch, hear, sight, you know, smells, then
Okay,
I
hold
am
on.
more I am less likely to be centered in thinking of wanting to use. I can still be sad, but I'm also directing my attention to something else while I'm sad, which allows me to remember that I'm in a safe place and I have control over my mind and my body. And it allows me to remember that, okay, sadness is a normal human reaction. It's a human emotion. I can get through this. Now, what to do next? And so, yeah, I know it was kind of a big recap, but I did school. I did the IOP, which I started to change my my thinking. I did um, the peer support, which was awesome. I had to pioneer a peer support program while I was in there. Dude, for days just wanting to come in. I had to shorten it from like an hour to 30 minutes to 20 minutes because there's so many people just wanted to come in and discuss things, which showed me that people want to recover. They didn't
Mm,
have to show up. It was all voluntary, you know, and they want to be able to tell their story and have someone back them. And the final thing that I did, which was really cool, is I was able to garner the trust from not only the incarcerated population, but I was also able to garner the trust from the staff. And I was able to kind of be the liaison in between the two. And so staff members would often go to me and be like, hey, um, this dude right here, I I think he needs to come talk to you. And like they weren't going through mental health and substance or the recovery part of it. They were just saying, "Hey, why don't you go talk to this dude?" Which was really cool because the staff weren't throwing him in the hole. They were just saying, "Go talk to him first." And
right.
their perception of the justice impacted were becoming a little bit more softened. And so I
Very.
also facilitated groups like a peer recovery discussion group where I took it was a diverse group where there was LGBTQIA members, there was hood members, there was ritzy members, there was black, white, Asian, there was um, Mexican American. I mean, there, and we brought them all together and we did team building activities and we loved each other. We became each one of these groups were like, yeah, every one of these guys are my road dogs. I die for them, whatever it was. It was cool to see people from all over and all walks um, to come together in a room and teach each other how to make paper airplanes without using words or doing it with their eyes closed or moving each other around obstacles without while they're you know it was one hell of an experience and I absorbed every experience and I like a sponge I kept on diving into it. So this whole past experience was all about learning. It was all about um, believing in myself and loving myself so that way I could truly love others. Um, it it didn't really make sense to me that you have to love yourself before you can truly love somebody else. Until this past time where I finally accepted who I was. I accepted and um, I became an advocate for sexual abuse because I was sexually abused by a very close person, and to be able to forgive them and then wish them peace and still be able to be in the same space as them, you know, it was wild. And to be able to love them again as it's so difficult. I had to put in a lot of work, but to come out to the other end of that, um, it's like I walk around floaty. It's like cloud 15, and I finally. And I'm not saying this was an easy path either. So if the viewers are like, "Oh my god, I don't even know how to get there," like guys, it took me several prison attempts. It took me a lifelong of traumas. It took me 5 years of what'd you call it the last time? All the work while I was sitting still. What'd you title that?
I went far while sitting still. I
Yeah.
actually, yeah, I made a little video even, and we forgot to play it last time, but
Oh, it's okay. But yeah, it wasn't easy. That I think when people are um worried about stopping using, they're worried about, am I ever going to get the support? And how am I ever going to reach that place that, Leanna or James is at? How am I going to get those years of sobriety? I don't even have like tomorrow thought of, you know? And then like you hear a story like this and it can be overwhelming for people. It can like, oh my gosh, I don't have the resources. I don't want to go to prison and all these things. What I what
nobody
I
does.
can say what I can say about that is I know exactly what that was like every single day. And God bless when they say that it gets better, just keep coming back. Was like whenever someone would say that, I would just cringe. Oh, I rejected those words. Like, oh my God, yeah, just keep coming back. Of course, you got a really great, happy freaking life, you know? And but
Easy
damn
to
it.
come back when your life is wonderful.
Right. Yeah. So I guess what I have to say with that is it's going to be hard and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But I will say that there don't ever tell yourself that there's not support out there. I would suggest that if you use counseling or therapy, that you become the main advocate of yourself because looking for a fix from a counselor or therapist who, sure, they might have some ideas, but it's you who are going to have to put in the work. It's you or who are going to be the one to kind of open up those past wounds and those traumas and cry. I used to walk into my counseling sessions and sob. I mean, I'm almost 6'5" and I'm 42 and I'm almost 290 pounds. I'm a big dude. I'm a big human being. And I walk into these counseling sessions and break down like a baby that was pinched. And like I'm just like, full on hyperventilating. And I needed to do that. I needed to release that pain. And that I think is probably for me one of the harder things to go through than actually stop using, than actually going through those weeks of detox. Now I have to address those traumas that I've been numbing all those years, that abuse from others and my own self for all those years, those decades. And I want to, you're telling me I have to be my own advocate and let this shit go? Yes, you do. You mean I'm going to have to become vulnerable and tell somebody else I'm going to have to trust somebody? No way. Yes, you do. Because once you give it away, there's nothing to do to you. They know it. So what? And there's so much love and support out there. I mean, like the recovery community, even in my little town, is oh my gosh, it's even people who are not in the recovery community. They're out there and they're opening their arms and So, I mean, we just talked again. I could keep on going and going and going. I know you wanted to do some of the questions. So I'm going to stop there because I can ramble on and I digress and I keep on coming back. But do you have any other questions that you wanted me to elaborate
No,
on?
I was gonna stop you at 6:45. I was gonna say I wanted to do the last
Okay,
15 minutes.
nice.
So I was
Okay.
letting you talk it out, and as far as the questions I had, it's no big deal. You can always come back to. I tell all of my guests always like, don't feel like you have to cram everything into one. Like, come back as many
Yeah,
times as you want. I need guests twice a week, every week, forever. So just
yeah,
it's always I always need, always you can always come back, you can always tell more, we can always go into more details about different stuff or focusing on different things or every we come back as many times as you want. I love to have you.
excuse me.
Wonderful guest. I don't have to do anything when you're here. So I love it. Love to have um
So
but yes,
yeah, and like even for an example, just to kind of piggyback off that, we could spend a whole episode on what it was like to come out of the sexual trauma, and what that was, the whole forgiveness piece of it. Or we could even discuss what it was like in the trenches and elaborate, getting down and dirty with being under the bridge and being able to relate to that, or being the only white person at 3 o'clock in the morning looking for crack in the places that there shouldn't be a light, like scary
because
places.
I want people to know, like, my platform is not just for people in recovery. Like, if you're using and you're sober curious and you want to get curious, like, I want people to see this and know that it's possible. Like that, we did these things too. I was homeless downtown Cincinnati, flying a sign, all the stuff. You know what I mean? And now I own my home. I'm married to a wonderful man. I have three beautiful children. I work. I'm a real person. So it is it is definitely possible. Like, so I want
Yeah.
people to know that too, that, we did this stuff too. It's not, I was in my like early recovery, still using days. Like, when I went to a treatment program and some of the counselors there were in recovery and some of them weren't and mine was not. So of course to me, she didn't know anything. She couldn't tell me anything, blah, blah, blah. I was really shut off. And anybody who hasn't had an experienced, as bad as I was or whatever, I didn't think, I couldn't tell me nothing, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's important for, like, especially as peer support, like I want people to know that, like, we experience a lot of the same things that, like, that they did, did a lot of the same things that they're
Yeah.
doing, like, and you can come back from it. Like, I don't care if you think you're too far gone, you're not. That's not a thing. Like,
You will come back for it. You put in a little bit of work.
yep.
We are some of the strongest people out there. If we live in the trenches, we can come back from that. We are fighters. We are survivors. We already know
I
that.
get that all the time. People say, you hear like that, addicts are weak or blah, blah, blah. But people that say
No.
that are clearly uneducated because addicts, we
Yes.
fight every day for our life. Like, we have to fight
Every
for
day.
things that normal people don't. Like, just to not get high every day. That's not a thing that every people have to struggle with, or worrying about doing something or seeing something or going somewhere triggering like this. This is all things on top of a normal street. Normal people are stressed and life is too hard. And think about all the time having something else to worry about. Like, I think we're
Yeah.
strong. So,
Strong.
yep.
We are strong. We will recover. We do it. Love it.
So,
Hey, let's get to a couple questions. I'm excited.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We are gonna. We have only. I have class again, so we are.
Oh, good.
We are. So we don't. And I hate that too because both times you've been on has been on a Friday, and I haven't got like. Usually, I don't care. Go over an hour. It's not like a big deal with me because I don't have usually anything else to do. So we just will on, but I have class. So um okay, so if anybody's watching and you want to drop a number for a question, just shout it out in the comments or whatever. But for now, we'll get started. You can go ahead and you can go first, pick a number, and we'll read the question, then we'll both answer it.
25.
One. All right, 25. Let's see.
The year that I was
25
released and
says
liberated from prison.
the few well, just and that's something really impressive about your story too. I know we're trying to like get off of that, but I just think it's incredible that you've done all this stuff and then like you haven't even been out of prison that long, like just a few months. Like, so it's just crazy to think that how much how far you've came and like you just hit the streets. You're like
Thank
so
you.
like light ahead of most people. But okay, Number 25 says the future self's note. If your healed 80-year-old self could send you a note, what would be the one word of encouragement on it? We don't have to do one word. Let's just say one piece of advice.
You are worth it. I mean, all I can think of is something around you're worth it. Uh, you deserve to live happy. You deserve
Yeah,
love. I'll
that's what
keep it
I
short
was
because you know I can ramble.
something. I was just thinking something along the lines of like it's worth it, or the work's worth it, or something along those lines. Of
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
I'm gonna say number 32. I don't know. Let's see.
32.
The undermined revolution. What is one social or political cause you passionately believe in, but were secretly struggle with your own hypocrisy? Okay, hold on. I don't like that question. Let's pick a different number. That doesn't even make sense to me. Um, I just stole these questions off of different places.
I'll
So,
tell you one social cause. We're just going to kind of go with helping the homeless.
oh,
Um,
good.
go
That's
go to those food pantries, especially this next month where SNAP benefits might be a little wanky. Donate that food; they need it. It's going to be a stretch for those receiving benefits.
yes.
Work in the soup kitchens. Put some food on a plate for an underserved individual and watch their face and thank them for coming through the line, allowing you to serve them. Yeah. So get into those pantries, get into those kitchens, be that behind the scenes work. And
Absolutely. I love
yeah.
like harm reduction, that whole thing, like the whole gist of harm reduction, like how they give out Narcan and syringes, like even if you're actively using, like it's kind of like letting people know like people do care about you still. You are, you're worthy of a clean needle. I mean, if you're gonna do it, let's at least do it safe, like your health care, your you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I
Oh,
really
and I want to piggyback off of that too because I told you that I had C, but as soon as I got out, as soon as you get a little bit of length of sobriety, there are multiple different things that you can take to get rid of that. So if you have acquired
yes,
Hep C, I have like 7 more days off my 3 month dose, and that's going to be gone. I'm going to be rid of it.
that's
So
amazing.
there are ways to come back. I know it. There are ways to come back from that. I just want to throw that in there.
Congratulations.
All right.
Yeah, but yeah, so okay, let's just pick another number. Yeah, I'm the same way. Well, I'll just keep talking if we don't. It's your turn. Pick a number.
42. That's how old I am.
What's one rule you follow that no one expects?
Harm no one.
I didn't hear you.
Harm no one. Live in a
Harm no.
headspace where you don't harm anybody. And it might be prevalent, but I mean, I just don't go out saying I don't harm people, but abide in love, abide in patience, abide in kindness and compassion. And um, if you're not harming anyone, then you're not getting angry. And if you're not harming anyone, you're just, it's such good headspace. Okay, there it is.
Okay. I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I don't know one rule I follow that no one would expect, but I just know that I'm really big on like one of my biggest rules is like I guess it could like fall into the same thing, but I'm really big about like hurtful words. Like there's certain words like we don't say stupid, we don't say hate. Like I don't know why that's on. I guess it's on my head because of the conversation I had recently with my kid. But like I'm really big about like certain words, certain things like you don't say, even jokingly, like are very hurtful.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I guess watch what we
That's a really
say.
good. That's really good.
That's
Yeah.
it.
I
Okay,
like that.
my turn. Let's see. Let's pick 93.
Okay.
Mm. Describe a moment when honesty felt like liberation.
I will tell you something that's less heavy. So 2 weekends ago, I visited my stepmom. Dad just passed on Halloween last year, and so it's a tough month for her. And so I went up there, and it was just for a visit, and I gave her $100, and she's like, What is this for?" And I said, "It's for the furnace fund." And then I handed her another $100, and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, Dad would want this." And she said, "Oh, no, no, Jamie." They call me Jamie. what are you talking about? I'm not going to take this. And I said, well, I took this money from you when I was a child, and you accused me of doing it because you knew I did it, but I denied it, and you just let it go. You just let it go. And I knew you knew about it. And she said, you know what? You've only been beating yourself up over the years over it because I had forgotten all about it. I don't even remember it. And I said, well, I did. And so, me being honest about that and just giving her that money back after 30 years of knowing that I had taken it from her, that was pretty awesome. It felt really good.
I think I don't know. When I first met my husband on our first date, and I just told him everything, and he said to me, he's like, I can't even see that. Like he couldn't even see. But to me, it was so like that was liberating to feel like I wasn't that person anymore. Because when he met me, we worked together, so we knew each other for a few months, and for him to like he couldn't even believe that out of me. Like that showed me that I was not even that person anymore. So that was very, very liberating. Like to me, then that's when I really feel like I completely stepped away and was like, now I can move forward. Now I can
It's
grow from the
freeing.
ashes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I think we
Yes.
might have time for one more if you want to pick a number.
Okay. Let's go number one. What's number one say?
Number one. Let's see. What's one bridge you burned and never looked back?
Ooh. Well, I can't say drugs because I always burned that bridge and I always went back. Um, although I could say it now, but what's a bridge that I burned and will not go back?
Never looked back.
Um, look back. Man, that's a tough one. Um, so it was relationship X. Um, it was toxic and I burned it. We're just going to keep it brief because for time wise, but once that relationship was over, felt like I could breathe. And then once I could take that breath, then it was like turning the page to a new life. Yeah.
Let's see. A bridge I burned and never looked back. I don't really know, like,
It's a
specifically.
tough one.
Yeah. So we have people are actually on someone on Facebook said this has been a good episode, so I really appreciate that. I really, like I said, I love having James. He's amazing. He has so many accomplishments. He has so much to say. It's really easy for me. But someone did say their bridge was old friend that had no good to me.
Yeah,
So
of
yeah, I
course.
mean
That's a
one.
go-to. I should have said something like that. Like
Yeah,
no
I just
brainer.
I feel silly because I completely left my entire life and moved like 3 hours away, 4 hours away to because I was just at that point, I knew that I was done and enough was enough, and I just walked away and didn't care at all.
That was a
So
good
yes.
one. I'm glad they said that. Yeah.
Yeah, me
Thank you.
too. Thank you guys, everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for your support. Thank you, James, for being here. I've got to go. I have
Yeah,
peer
thank
support,
you.
but I'll see you again, I hope. Like I said, we can do as
I
many episodes
absolutely anytime.
until you're sick of me.
Stop
All right.
it.
Oh, someone had a comment real quick. Well, though,
Oh,
like it's
okay.
literally not a friendship. It was really just the thrill of being outside. I don't know. I think there might be a comment that's not showing. Sometimes Facebook comments don't show, like
Uh-huh.
in on time. So because I'm not sure what that's supposed to. I just saw it.
Hey, but
Okay.
still keep
All right.
commenting. That's what I
Yeah,
say.
thank you for your comments, guys, and I'm sorry that I don't understand that. I'm not being disrespectful, and I wish I had time to wait for a response, but I really have to go
Happy
for
peer
class.
support.
Thank you.
Run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Been ready, used to hold myself back.